En happy Rosh Chodesh as well. Okay, Steve Levine, please introduce our speaker for the evening. Hold on, Steve, you need to unmute yourself. Okay, okay, go ahead.
There we go. All right. Welcome, everyone. Starting my introduction, I have to say that sometimes God puts you somewhere where you absolutely do not want to be. And for some reason, it just ends up you need to be there. God has his motivation why he does things. And such was the case 15 years ago when my wife dragged me to an opportunity meeting in the back of a carpet and tile store in Sugar Land off of Highway 6 to hear a couple of speakers. I had no problem with that, but I had a horrible migraine and I was sick to my stomach probably from the migraine. And I mean, I put up a fuss. I did not want to be there whatsoever. And you could just tell the anger on my face. At least the speakers could. And she kept kicking me under the table to get with the program. But one of those speakers was Ruben Gonzales. And when he started his speech and told us what it was like going down that sheet of ice in the Olympics, he had me. And from that day, 15 years ago, a very special friendship has blossomed. He has been on the cover of one of my magazines, Health Under Government Employment. He's a regular contributor to Small Business Today magazine. And believe me, his programs are 4 to 5 figures to do a speech. I have to pay him breakfast at New York Bagel the next time he's in town. So that's pretty hefty. No. So Ruben's a very dear friend. He's a phenomenal motivational speaker. His list of Fortune 500 companies reads like who's who in business. He's called upon constantly to motivate people and to share his story about how someone with no athletic ability at all ended up to be in 4 different Olympics in friend, 4-time Olympian, Ruben Gonzales.
All right. Hey, Steve, when I got your call and remember you said, hey, Ruben, I got a favor to ask you. And when you call saying that, it's yes, right? I didn't have to hear it.
Always,
so it's a pleasure
always.
to meet you guys. Yeah, sure. We're friends. So I'm going to give you guys the Reader's Digest, and then we're going to do Steve's going to ask me a couple of questions, and then we can open it up for everyone. And we'll just go till we run out of time. People always ask me, what does it feel like? What's it feel like to hurl yourself down an icy chute at 80, 90 miles an hour? I mean, is it scary? Yes, it's scary. It's awful, especially for me, because I didn't get started until I was 21 years old. Most losers, they start when they're 10-year-olds, right? 8-year-olds. 8, 10-year-olds are bulletproof. They're not afraid of anything. And these little kids, by the time they're old enough to know better, they've trained so long, they've acquired such great skills, they hardly ever experience any fear. But I got started when I was 21, and so I've been doing the luge on and off for over 30 years. I've got thousands of runs under my belt, and until the last couple of years, I was scared after every single run. I white-knuckled it for 25 years. I hated it, but I saw the luge as the vehicle that would help me reach my dream, right? And I don't focus on the vehicle, I focus on the dream, because the dream gives you power and strength. So the luge track, it's a chute of ice that starts 50 stories up the mountain. I mean, 50 stories, that's way up there. You're gonna be sliding down that mountain on a little bitty sled, just a piece of fiberglass and a couple of steel runners. You'll be hitting speeds of 80, 90 miles an hour, and you got no brakes. I mean, does this sound normal so far? You walk up to the start, your hands get sweaty, your mouth gets dry, the hair starts standing back of your neck. Because you know what could happen down there? Broken bones, concussions, dislocations, and worse. Over the years, I've broken my foot twice, my knee, my elbow, my hand, my thumb, a couple of ribs. My neck's a chiropractor's dream. They find things there they never seen before. And all my breaks are on this side. This is my unlucky side. This is my lucky side. I mean, go figure, right? I mean, this is the Tom Cruise side, and this is the Tommy Lee Jones side. So you walk up to the start, and you got a couple of minutes to go. And a luge run just takes a minute. So 2 minutes, that's just long enough to take that one last run in your mind, vividly imagining exactly what you'll do the whole way down and have that perfect line down the track. So you close your eyes and, okay, curve 1, easy, easy. Curve 2, point your toes. Curve 3, relax, remember to breathe. And it's always perfect. You always win the gold medal when you're visualizing. But now it's really time to do it. And so coach, he gives you a little pat in the back and he moves to the side. You got spikes on your fingertips you'll use to build up speed at the start. And so you test them on the ice. Yeah, I feel good. You take a couple of deep breaths, get yourself centered. Visor goes down, grip the handles, and it's 1, 2, 3, and you pull as hard as you can. And you paddle furiously to build up speed, and you lay down. And in no time, you're doing 50, 60, 70, 80 miles an hour. As the speed increases, so does the fear. And the world's just doing this. And you focus on a spot about 30 feet in front of you, just flying down the track. And people watch this on TV that think all we do is hold on and pray. Well, they're right. We hold on, we pray, and we steer a lot. Okay, luge is really good for your prayer life. All right, if you have your prayer life needs a little work, man, take up the luge. You'll be praying in no time. But anyways, but you also steer a lot. You're making hundreds of tiny corrections the whole way down to have a perfect line down the track. But it doesn't take much because the sled is so responsive. All you have to do is push down with your shoulder just a little bit, and there it goes from one side of the straightaway to the other. If you pull your hand, that drives your shoulder down. It's a medium steer. If you apply force with your legs, that's like doing this with a car. That's for emergencies. If you hiccup, that could be enough of a motion to cause you to slam against the wall and crash. I mean, it's true. It's that responsive. If you get the hiccups, you have a bad run. You fly down that track 80 miles an hour, you hit a curve, all of a sudden you're 15, 20 feet up against the wall, pulling up to 6 Gs. 6 Gs, I weigh 200 pounds. That's 1,200 pounds squashing me against the wall. Feels like a polar bear sitting on my chest. And you see the exit way down there. It's like, try to drive through. And it's not smooth, okay? It's bumpy. It's like you're on a runaway truck down a gravel road. I mean, that's what it feels like. I mean, it's double vision the whole way down. But you tell somebody you do the luge, they always say the same thing. Oh, that looks like fun. That looks like a water slide. No, it's a water slide on steroids. It's not fun. It's scary. Well, you cross the finish line, how are you going to stop? You got no brakes. Well, you force yourself to sit up on the sled, and as soon as you do, boom, you get thrown back with this 80-mile-an-hour wind. You dig your feet down, you pull front of the sled up, you slow down, stop. Takes 200 yards, 2 football fields come to a stop. And you step off the sled, and about 5 seconds after you step off the sled, the adrenaline rush hits you. The fear, it hits you like a sledgehammer. I'm never doing the luge again. I was a soccer player. Soccer's soft. It's warm. What was I thinking? Why do the luge? Why do ping pong or curling or something like that? Because the fear is that strong. Fortunately, there's a walkie-talkie down at the finish line. There's a bunch of walkie-talkies because there's coaches up and down the track. And my coach, he's a 4-time Olympian, 3-time world champion from Austria. This guy's the best of the best. He's like Michael Jordan of luge. About 6'6", looks like and sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay, this guy's tough. He's mean. I mean, it hurts him to smile, okay? He gets a cramp over here because he never uses that muscle. I mean, first couple of years, I was so intimidated by him. I was just scared of him. I didn't like him, okay? But it didn't matter. My attitude was, it doesn't matter if I like him or not. What matters is he knows the way, right? So my attitude is, whatever he says, I'm going to humble myself to his leadership because he knows, right? He's got fruit on the trees. If coach says you got to shave your head, wear lipstick, that'll make you go faster, man, I'll do it right now, all right? And so when I first met him, I actually had an interview for him. The first 4 years, I was under the U.S. team. And then they made this international team with this top coach. And I had an interview. And the first thing he said is, I can be your friend or I can be your coach, but I can't be both, right? And I told him, I got a lot of friends, okay? I need a coach. You just be as tough as you need to be. And I'm glad he was, right? He didn't candy coated. So anyways, you pick up the walkie-talkie. I just had a bad run. I'm fed up. I'm scared, out of breath. Coach, this is Ruben. Ruben, knock, come on. Bad news. Whenever coach says, knock, come on, I'm shaking. He says, Ruben, you must point your toes more. And Ruben, put your head further back. And Ruben, you were so late on curve 6. You must steer harder, harder, harder on curve 6. And Ruben, relax, relax. Be one with the sled. Have fun. Click. Have fun. I mean, you started when you were 5 years old, for Pete's sake. How am I going to have fun? You're nuts, man. Coach is nuts. He's nuts, but he's right. All my problems did start on curve 6. That's when I lost control. That's when I started hitting the walls. I got to get back on that sled. I got to get back on that sled. I can do it. 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 I'm a winner. I'm a winner. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. Sometimes I got to walk up and down the track, 15, 20 minutes, give myself a pep talk. And finally, after doing that long enough, the belief kicks in, the courage kicks in. And you say to yourself, man, I will get on that sled. When I do, I'm pointing those toes, head's going back. I'm steering harder, harder, harder on that curve 6. I'm going to relax and look out. I'm going to have my best run ever. And I did. I did. I never would have made it to the Olympics without Coach. I mean, he knows the way. I mean, he's been there, right? When I'm ready to quit, when I'm filled with fear, he always, takes me back to the dream, right? The Olympics. And so you're going to have a bad day once in a while. You're going to have a bad month. You're going to have a bad year, right? Everybody does. I have. I've had years when it seemed like no matter how hard I tried, nothing seemed to work out. And you start getting discouraged and down. You get so close to just throwing it all away and quitting, right? But when you're down, that's the worst time to make an important decision, right? Because you'll always take the easy way out. You regret it later. Rather, do what I did. Pick up that walkie-talkie, pick up the phone, call your best friend, your best buddy, call your wife, call somebody that loves you, somebody that believes in you, somebody get you back on track, somebody get you back on, focused on that dream. Because if you, back on the sled, right? Because if you quit on the dream, you regret it all your life, all your life. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story. And when we're done, you're going to be thinking, man, if that guy can make it to the Olympics even one time, we can do anything, all right? Because I give people hope. That's my lot in life. I'm not a great athlete. I can't jump high. I can't run fast. I'm not particularly strong. I'm like your neighbor, okay? Really. All my life, I was the last kid picked for PE. I was even on the bench for kickball. I didn't know they had a bench in kickball, all right? Now, I was born in Argentina. We moved to the States when I was 6 years old. My dad was a chemical engineer for Exxon. We got transferred out here. All of a sudden, we speak Spanish in Argentina, right? We eat beef, drink wine, and play a lot of soccer. Now you know everything there is to know about Argentina. Now I'm in Queens, New York. I'm the only kid in my class didn't speak English, and school was tough. And I learned how to speak English by reading adventure books. I read 20,000 Leagues Around Under the Sea and Around the World in 80 Days, and all these books about kids that led adventurous lives. And I had them in English and Spanish, had a tutor who put it all together, and that's how I learned English. And I would take these books to school with them, show them to my friends, and I tell them, I want my life to be like a book. And they didn't get it. I said, I want my life to be an adventure. So I always had the antennas looking for the adventure. And I'll never forget, when I was 10 years old, watching the Olympics on TV with my younger brother, Marcelo, we're sitting on the couch watching the 72 Sapporo, Japan games. And it's like, man, look at those skiers. They're flying down the mountain. And look at the people that are going crazy with the cowbells. The Olympics, that's what I'm going to do. I'm in the Olympics. And that's when I caught the dream. But it was a pipe dream because I'm not getting picked to play school sports. I'm in the Olympics. Give me a break. So I didn't believe it was possible. So I didn't do anything. And so my first book that I wrote is called The Courage to Succeed. See, I believe you got to have two types of courage. You got to have the courage to get started. And everything's tough at the beginning because you don't have any skills. So you have to have the courage to endure. You have to stay in the game long enough to learn the skills. And then you use the skills to reach the dream. And so I didn't have any, I had a lot of desire. Right? It's the courage to endure, that comes from your desire. If you want something badly enough, nothing will make you quit. The courage to get started, that comes from your belief, right? If you believe something's possible, hey, I'll give it a shot. Well, back then I had a lot of desire, but no belief, so I didn't do anything. And a couple of years went by, and my dad got tired of me talking the talk, but not walking the walk. And he did something really smart. He said, Ruben, why don't you read books? If you'll study the lives of great people, you'll figure out what works and what doesn't work in life, because success leaves clues. I started reading biographies and I loved them. They were true life adventures. And after a while, I realized all these biographies are the same thing, same story. It's always a story someone had a dream, and they had a struggle, and they had a victory, right? And the thing that all these winners have in common was perseverance. They refused to quit, right? They're just a bunch of hardheads. If your mom called you a hardhead when you were a little kid, man, you got what it takes, right? We just got to develop it. Yeah. And so I made a decision from today on, Ruben doesn't quit anything. As a 12-year-old, I made that decision. It's a quality decision. And by high school, my nickname was Bulldog. Other kids in high school started noticing, hey, you're real tenacious. You're like a bulldog. And that was my nickname. And when I was, and I played soccer all my life. Soccer, you know, Argentine boys, they love soccer. And I got pretty good skills, but I'm a slowpoke. So the other guy always gets the ball first. I was still on the bench. I was so frustrated, right? Well, I found out that Houston Baptist University had an NCAA Division I soccer team. And I had a group of people. My dad said the books you read, people you hang around with, those two things will determine, you know, what you do with your life. And so he always encouraged me to hang around people that, you know, had done things. And I had my own dream team of advisors, right? And they always said, you know, successful people, they focus on the goal, focus on the dream. They don't focus on the obstacles, right? There's always going to be obstacles, but you focus on the dream, because the dream gives you strength and power, everything you need to bust through those obstacles. And they would ask different questions like, why not me? Why not now? Why not, right? And those are great questions to ask yourselves, because that gets your subconscious mind thinking about the solution. You go to sleep, that subconscious mind is still working. Well, I found out, you know, why not me? Why can't I play college soccer, right? Well, I found out there's a day you could try out. I tried out, made the team, overnight jock. I even got a scholarship. My dad got excited about that part, right? Don't have to pay for college. But I was still on the bench. 2 weeks into the practice, coach says, hey, come to my office. I got to talk to you. And he said, sit down, close the door, sit down. He said, obviously, you had an incredible day that day a couple of weeks ago when we tried out, because, man, you're just too slow, man. You're holding us back. I mean, the new rule around here is you get to play when we're winning by 2 goals, because you're a threat to our own team. He said that, okay? He's a real motivator. And I wouldn't even, you know, I didn't get down. I was still so happy to be part of the team that my new dream in life was don't get cut. And so I started doing all these things outside the soccer field, right? Marketing the team, making posters, getting people to come, all these things. I figured, man, if this guy cuts me, he's gonna have to hire 3 guys to replace me. And I was on the team for 3 years. I was a traveling squad. And now that was a prologue, okay? So now at that time, I was sitting on the bench in hot and humid Houston. I'm 21 years old. The Olympics roll around again. 1984, Sarajevo, Winter Olympic Games. I'm watching them on TV. And I see this little guy's about 5'1". He must have weighed 115 pounds soaking wet. This little 18-year-old kid wins the gold medal in figure skating, Scott Hamilton. When I saw him win that gold medal, he gave me hope. I said to myself, if that little guy can win, I can at least play. I'll be in the next Olympics no matter what. It's a done deal. Okay, I just got to find a sport. Well, I had a dream with a deadline. Okay, in 4 years, I'm either in or I'm out, right? So deadline, that means no time to waste. I went back to the library. I got a big book about the Olympics, and I'm looking through the list of all the summer sports. And it took me 5 minutes to realize, man, you got to be a super athlete doing this stuff. There's no way, you know. You got to be able to jump over houses and lift cars and run 100 miles an hour. I couldn't do any of that stuff. So I got down. And then I started looking at the list of all the winter sports. And as I'm looking through that list, the analytical side of my brain kicked in. And I thought, you know, I'm about to put together a plan for the next 4 years. It probably would make sense to base the plan on my strengths. My strength's not athleticism. I'm just okay athlete. My strength's perseverance. I'm bulldog, remember? So I thought I got to find a sport that's so tough. A sport's got so many broken bones in it, there'll be a lot of quitters, right? Well, I won't quit. I'll make it to the top on the attrition rate. I'll outlast everybody. That's my whole plan, all right? I mean, keep it simple. And so now I'm looking for tough sports, ski jump, bobsled, luge. Well, I lived in Houston, Texas, okay? I mean, Earl, I am so sorry you have to experience Houston in August. That is, I tell you. Yeah. And September is no better. But then it's finally October. But you know, there's not that much skiing going on in Houston, okay? It's hot, humid, flat, sticky. I never skied before, so forget ski jump. That'd have been suicide. So that one's out. Bobsled. Where are you gonna find 3 other nuts in Houston want to do the bobsled? I mean, you gotta go to Jamaica for that, right? Well, I know those guys, okay? So if we have any Jamaicans in the in this in this meeting, I know those guys. Actually, one of them is a speaker. He makes fun of me in his speeches, but so we're even. Well, that left the luge. I'd never seen the luge on TV at that point in my life. I just had a little picture of a guy on a luge. I thought that looks pretty tough. That's one for me. That's how I picked my sport, okay? Isn't that crazy? I didn't even know where the track was. So what do? Well, you got to find somebody that knows. Well, no one in Houston's going to know. Sports Illustrated. It's their job to know, right? It's their job to know sports. So I wrote them a letter. This is before the internet. It's a really short letter, but a really good letter. Where do you go learn how to luge? Signed, Ruben. Yeah. Bottom line, don't waste your time with people, right? Especially if they're decision makers. They actually wrote back and they sent me a picture from the inside of one of their magazines. I'll show it to you, okay? Because this is really, well, oh, by the way, see, I read books. See, I've been a student of success all my life. Ever since I was a little kid, I just intrigued by what makes successful people. We live in the land of opportunity, okay? But you got to use success principles too. I say you got to pray like it's up to God, and you got to work like it's up to you, right? So here's some of my helmets from the Olympics, and there's my sled down there, and these are Olympic pins that I've traded with athletes from all over the world. But this is what I wanted to show you. Okay, so they sent me this picture. All right, as soon as I got that picture, it went in the frame. All right. And I put it in my bedroom and right in front of my bed. And the first person I saw in the morning when I woke up was the luge man. And he reminded me, man, I'm going for the Olympics. Got to eat right, gotta exercise, gotta work out, gotta read good books, listen to good audios, hang around winners, right, for mental strength. And at night, before I shut off the lights, last person I saw was the luge man, right? And so what do you think I dreamt about at night? The luge, the Olympics. He kept me going. That was my goal setting strategy. Keep your goals in front of you, okay? Because you know what happens if you don't keep your dreams and your goals in front of you? Life happens, okay? Then 6 months go by, and a year goes by, and a year and a half, and you realize, oh my gosh, I was going for the Olympics. I totally forgot, right? I just blew a year and a half. That happens, guys. So you keep it in front of you. Now look, I want you to notice something. This guy, look, his feet are not even pointed. His head's way up. You got 3 air brakes right there. Look at his suit. It's all raggedy. This guy's a beginner. I didn't even know it, okay? But this guy helped me go to the Olympics. See, because that was my vision to my dream. Makes sense? And here's another thing. When I saw Scott Hamilton and I got excited, I didn't stew on it. I didn't wait. I didn't wait till everything was perfect. Everything's never gonna be perfect, okay? I was excited. I had all that power of excitement in me, and I took action. You take action when you're excited. If you wait till it's gone, then you just blew it, right? You had afterburners and you blew it, right? Let me show you some other stuff. This is our rec room. Let's see. I like to play ping pong here. You got pictures of the Olympics here. Here's a picture they shot of me in it's Salt Lake City. See, pointing the toes. Head's a little up though. I'm scared. But hey, you know, I got there, right? These are everybody that goes to the Olympics gets a participation certificate and a participation medal, right? It's not the real medal, but at least got a little medal, right? So we got the 4 there. And Olympic torches. I got to carry the Olympic torch in Salt Lake City. Right, the motto, you can't read it here, it says light the fire within, because it's about inspiring people. Light that fire in them, fire them up, right? And so that's an icicle, and I got to carry the torch. And this is Torino. I just bought these on eBay, okay? I got excited, you know. This is Los Angeles, 84, and this is Vancouver. All right, let me show you this here. I got Olympic stuff all over the place, all right? This picture here, I don't know if you can see it, but this, my kids, Grayson was 6, Gabby was 9 at the time. They surprised me at the Vancouver Olympics. Somebody shot this picture at the end of my run, and the crowd went wild. And man, that's my gold medal right there, right? And so I'm just showing, man, I got Olympics all over the place. See, you got to become known for your dream, for your goals, right? If people start calling you a fanatic, hey, you're just a fanatic. No, you're just a little focused. Most people are so lukewarm, you know, they're not scared. They're not excited about anything. These are the bibs that you wear, the different Olympics. See, so I keep it all around me to bombard my brain with where I want to go so I can stay excited. And so I go to Lake Placid. I call Lake Placid. And I told the guy, I'm an athlete here in Houston. I want to learn how to luge. So I'm in the Olympics in 4 years. Will you help me? And the guy says, how old are you? I said, 21. And he started laughing. He said, 21, forget it, man. You're too old. We just, we start them off when they're 10 years old. You have 10 years experience by now. No way. I didn't know what to do. I thought they were going to welcome me. All I knew is hanging up's not an option. If I hang up that phone, it's all over. So I kept him on the phone. Finally, he said, okay, well, we got this class, beginner's class, 15 people get to go. It's in a couple of months. So 2 or 3 months after seeing Scott Hamilton on TV, I'm in Lake Placid, New York at the track, okay? And it's the springtime, so it's a luge track with no ice. So we're gonna go on wheels from a half-mile point, 50, 55 miles an hour. All we're wearing is tennis shoes, shorts, and a t-shirt, all right, and a helmet. The helmet's just for decoration. And if you crash at that speed on the concrete, I mean, helmet just makes the lawyers happy, right? So anyways, put me in this class, and I'm so glad that this guy, before, he tried talking me out of it on the phone. He said, if you want to do it in just 4 years, at your age, it's brutal. 9 out of 10 people quit. When he said that, I thought, wow, this is awesome. This works right into my plan. I said, what's the second thing? He said, expect to break some bones. And I said, great. And he says, what's wrong with you, man? I just told you you're going to break some bones. I said, look, I hope it's 10 times harder than what you're telling me. I hope it's 100 times harder, because the harder it is, easier it is for me, because I'm not a quitter. I'm Bulldog, okay? And he hangs up on me. He must have thought I was a cocky Texan or something, all right? He goes, all right, Bulldog, let's see what you can do. Click. I went, and I'm at the track, but I'm so glad he didn't candy coat it. He tried to talk me out of it. I'm so glad, because that allowed me to put on mental armor. I knew this is going to be a struggle. This is going to be war, okay? And so I had to, you hope for the best, but you prepare for the worst, right? So I started thinking, what's the worst that can happen? Well, what do I break a bone, like he said? What am I going to do? I started thinking, well, I've broken bones before. 40 days later, it's healed, and it's actually stronger than before. So when you think about it, it's a temporary inconvenience, right? So I had a contingency plan. I knew I was going to handle it. I go out there, we're crashing left and right, and these other guys, they're quitting because they got a bruise. See, they didn't think about it, right? You have to prepare. You got to be ready. And so I went. First year and a half, I mean, and they had great reasons for quitting, right? It's too expensive. It's too far away. I miss my family. I don't like the luge. Well, I didn't like it either. I was killing myself. First 2 years, I'm crashing 4 out of 5 times. And then finally, I started crashing 3 out of 5. That was a great day. So fourth year, I actually made it. I cracked into the top 50 in the world.
No, I didn't. You can't see it better. And that way, if the phone rings, you won't lose it.
We can't lose it. Don't let that phone ring. We don't want it to lose. We don't want to lose. We want to win. We're all going to win. I don't care if that phone rings.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Ruben. I don't know who it is, but hopefully they will mute.
That's okay. That's okay. Anyways, so the fourth year, I cracked into the top. Well, first 2 years, it was a physical struggle, right? Because I am just getting hurt a lot. Well, then the last 2 years was a psychological struggle, okay? Because now, imagine, I'm barely able to get down that track, and I'm not any good. And all of a sudden, I'm in the World Cup circuit. I'm sitting in a room. Imagine you just got your driver's permit, okay? You barely learned how to drive a car. You haven't even gotten your real license yet. And now they put you in this room, and right outside this room is Indy 500, okay? Oh, and you look over there, here's Al Unser, here's AJ Foyt, here's Mario Andretti. I thought, I don't belong here. This is a joke, right? And I couldn't even look at them in the eyes. I would go to the darkest corner of that room, and I would just focus on, I got to get these World Cup points. I got to get World Cup points, because they base your world standing on how well you do on all these races. And I just focused on that. And meanwhile, the Germans, who totally rule the sport, they wouldn't even give me the time of day. They were confirming that I didn't belong there. And it was awful. It was a psychological struggle. I'd much rather break bones and go through that again, I tell you. So, but the fourth year, cracked into the top 50, you got to go to the Olympics, Calgary, 1988. You walk into the opening ceremonies, you feel so happy, so proud, you know, and at the same time, I felt sad for the guys that quit. A couple of them, especially a couple of them become my friends. I'm thinking, wow, what are they thinking like today, right? They're watching it on TV. I bet it hurts so much, you got to change channels. I bet they can't watch the Olympics the rest of their lives. On their deathbed, they'll be thinking, what if I hadn't quit? And what about number 51? He did everything coach said. He maxed out his credit cards. He got hurt. He kept coming back, and he missed about 1/100th of a second on the last race. That guy feels sick inside. But when he looks, you know, in the morning when he's shaving and he's looking at himself in the mirror, he can still be proud. And he knows that he's a better person for having put himself through that struggle, because that struggle forced him to dig deep inside, and he found his God-given gifts there, right? Because that's where they are. You gotta go through the struggle to find them. He's a better person. See, it's not about reaching the dream. It's about the person you become, okay? And I just believe that God uses dreams. He puts the dream in your heart, and he gives you everything you got, what it takes, right? But it's not going to fall in your lap. You got to have to fight for it, right? So you can find those dreams. So you can grow into the person that deserves it, right? And I think he just uses it, you know, like the old, you know, the rider in front of the horse, on the horse, you got the stick with the carrot. Well, the dream's the carrot. That's the Olympics. And it caused that carrot. I went after that carrot, and it made me grow as a person. And whether you make it or not, you win, right? That's because the dream does that for you. And so I'm going to let Steve, if we're able to connect, to ask me questions. He knows my stuff better than what might help you guys the most. And then if you guys want to ask some questions too, I'm happy to do that too. All
right. Well, thank you, Ruben. You've been excellent. As I know, we've known each other 15 years. You were self-sponsored and self-motivated, right?
Yes.
Learning and wanting to get to the Olympics. By the way, before I ask the question, one of my biggest thrills, being your friend, is you sent me a video from your phone as you were walking in the Olympics. I don't know if you remember that. I said, look at this. I'm seeing him with everybody behind him and in front of him. I thought that was so cool. So that's one of my favorite things that you ever did was send me the video live.
Yeah, it's funny. Nobody at the Calgary Olympics in '88, nobody was doing that. And then by my fourth one, everybody was doing that.
It was like I was there.
You know, with the phones.
Anyway, back to my question. You had a thing that every time you wanted to quit, you would do to yourself. Do you remember that? Tough question. I should have prepped you.
No,
rubber bands.
There's many, but one of them is I always go back to the feeling. I try to figure out my why, right? And it's like one thing that I always do, even when I sold copiers. I mean, I got into copier sales because one of my mentors, one of my dream team guys, I had a job, two jobs that I could pick. One of them that was going to be comfortable, and then one of them was going to stretch me. And selling copiers, he says, that's really going to stretch you. And I remember the first few times when I had to go into a building, I would walk around the building several times. Saying, I can do it. I'm a winner every day in every way. I'm getting better and better. And just saying those things, and finally, go in there and do it. And then I realized, hey, I didn't die. I guess it's okay, right? But tell me what you are actually thinking.
You said a rubber band around your wrist.
Oh. Well,
and it wasn't jewelry.
I was in Southwest Houston. Even before my first Olympics, I'm in a little hole in the wall gym working out. And in walks Evander Holyfield, right? Lou Duva brought all of his boxers in, and Evander Holyfield, he just won the championship, right? The heavyweight championship. And as soon as he walked in, everybody's like, man, we all started doing the same thing. We started whispering real loud. And that's Evander Holyfield. What is he doing here? And nobody had the guts to go say hello to him. And me neither. But the littlest one of all, he's about Scott Hamilton size. He didn't look so intimidating. I thought I can talk to him. And so the little guy gets in the stationary bike, starts warming up. And I went right next to him, and I started warming up. And I knew he was a boxer, but I want to start a conversation, create some rapport. I said, what do you do? What's your sport? He said, I box. What do you do? I said, I'm a loser. He says, a loser? Don't you ever call yourself a loser, man. You're a winner. You're a winner. He just got all motivational speaker on me, right? Everybody got off their machines and wanted to see who the loser was, right? I mean, most embarrassing moment in my life. I almost walked out the door, joined a different club. And I said, man, a luge, man. It's like a bobsled. Back then you had to explain it to everybody. And, oh, sorry, man. I thought you called yourself a loser. It was thanks. Not everybody thinks I am. Well, it turns out this guy was Vinny Pazienza. He was the reigning lightweight champion, right? If I'd known he was the, champion boxer, I would have been too intimidated to talk to him too. But now once I knew, I asked him, well, what, Vinny, why did you freak out when you thought I called myself a loser? And he said, you ought to know better, man. Champions don't call themselves stupid. Winners don't call themselves, idiots, right? He said, look, here's what you need to do. You get yourself a rubber band. Don't get a little bitty one. Get a real fat one, and you wear it on your wrist for a month. Every time you catch yourself bad-mouthing yourself, calling yourself stupid, an idiot, or bad-mouthing somebody else, you pop yourself as hard as you can, and you replace a negative word with a positive word, because the mind doesn't like a vacuum, right? You got to fill it in with something. And he goes, give me a break, man. I'm a college graduate, for Pete's sake. That's so simplistic. Now, work for me. Work for Evander. He actually took me to Evander Holyfield. He goes, hey, does that rubber band thing work? He goes, yeah. That's my whole conversation with Evander Holyfield. But you know what? If it's good enough for those guys, good enough for me. I finished my workout. I went to the office. The office was in that corner over there. I got me a rubber band. It wasn't 20 minutes later. I did something dumb. And back then I had this really bad habit. Whenever I did something dumb, I would call myself an idiot. But I wouldn't just say it. I had to drive it in, right? It's like, idiot, right? Pow! I'm not an idiot. I'm a winner. Over and over and over again. It didn't even take me a month. In 3 weeks, that rubber band changed my life. I had a big welt right here, right? But after about 3 weeks, I had a new habit. I do something dumb, and pow! I'm not an idiot. I'm a winner. See, I nipped it in the bud. I turned a bad habit into a better habit. And around that time, I started noticing, man, there's a lot of bad mouthing going on around my friends. I got to get away from this secondhand negative and hang around a different group of friends, right? That are more positive. Went back to what my dad said, right? Who you can hang around with. Who you hang around with, 90% of success. You can read all those books. You can outline them. You can write essays on them. But you know what? You hang around people, you pick up their habits, right? And so my mentors always say, hanging around people that are already doing what you want to do, right? You want to lose, 10 pounds? You know what the easiest way to lose 10 pounds is? Best diet in the world, okay? You just start hanging around some skinny people. Yeah, you'll be riding bikes and eating salad, and you actually won't miss the other stuff. The weight will just come off because you pick up their habits, right? You pick up their success habits. And so, yeah, that rubber band changed my life because it helped me take a bad habit and turn it into a better habit.
There you go. Ruben, before we open it up to some other people with questions, if you'll go to chat and put your website and where people can get one of your books or more information about you being a speaker.
Yeah, actually, I'm doing this on my phone because it actually gets better reception out here. So
I'll pass it on. It's okay.
Yeah, and the best way, if you go to Ruben, RUBEN, Ruben Tips, TIPS.com, you can sign. There's articles there. There's a bunch of free stuff. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, I was actually on Jamaican Bobsledder's podcast, right? He had me on his podcast. That's a fun thing to watch. But you can watch videos, all kinds of stuff. So RubenTips.com, that's the easiest one.
RubenTips.com.
We also included several links in our emails when we sent out the invitation for tonight. So a lot of people have different websites already. So thanks
Wonderful.
Very much.
Thank you. Great job.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
One
I
question.
feel like I'm preaching to the choir.
Yeah, Ruben, one question came in. What is your current dream?
My current dream. I get bored easy, okay? I am so ADD that I get bored easy. I need a challenge. And so one thing that I want to do is I have this little sailboat, and I learned how to sail here. And we're going to sell it. I'm going to buy a catamaran so we can do some really, little crazier sailing, right? But I fly, I'm a pilot, but I haven't flown airplanes in a long time. And I really want to deal with air traffic control and all those guys. And so there's a group about an hour and a half away from me that teaches you how to do paragliding, which is where you jump and you're gliding down. And once you get really good, you can actually pick up thermals and you're flying without a motor, right? And so that's my new dream, to learn how to do that. just more adventures, more stories. Actually, let me show you something. Earl, I actually got to speak in South Africa a few years ago, and it's a long flight. Oh my gosh, I remember it was like 20 hours. You got a lot of time to think. And I thought, hey, skydiving in South Africa, that's got a nice ring to it. I might be able to use that from stage, right? So I actually went to South Africa and I did a tandem jump. And this guy did, he had like 20,000 jumps under him, okay? But you know what? Even Mr. Luge, man, even the guy that wrote The Courage to Succeed, when I was on my knees looking at that door and looking at that void, if he hadn't given me a shove, I would still be sitting on my knees up there. So sometimes you need that mentor to give you that push. A little tough love is a good thing.
All right.
Lawrence Barris, you want to turn on your microphone and ask a question yourself?
Sure, there must be an explanation about that charging bull behind your shoulder.
Well, I read, Hemingway put all these ideas in my head. When I was a kid, I read a lot of his books. I love One Man in the Sea. I reread that after many years, and it's all about chasing your dream and keeping your attitude, right? Protecting your attitude. So, he talks about running with the bulls in Pamplona, and I always wanted to do that. And in 2010, I went down there with a buddy of mine. But before, I'm a big believer in, you got to do your due diligence and preparation. So I read 3 books about Pamplona. I actually called one of the authors, right? Because he'd run it for about 20 years. So I wanted to get some coaching. I told him, hey, I want the Pamplona experience, but I don't want any extra holes in my body. So give me some tips. He says, well, it's like a big L, okay? Roughly, it's an L. Don't stand at the beginning. The bulls are too fresh. It's uphill. You'll die. Okay, got it. Don't stand at the beginning. Don't stand at the end. It's too narrow into the bull. You'll die. Got it. Don't stand in the middle. There's this curve, right, where all the bulls get smashed. It's actually right there. See, the bulls are coming in. They don't see it because the sun is right in their eyes. Look at that guy. He's about to get hit. And all these guys can get hit too because the impulse takes them that way. He says you go 50 yards past that curve, right? On the right side, the impulse will drive them towards the left. And most of the time, there's no guarantees, right? Most of the time, they'll pass by you about 10 feet away. You get the Pamplona experience without, any extra holes. Great. Awesome. But there's no guarantees. Okay, yeah, I get it. He goes, oh, another thing. There's 3,000 people out there. About 2,000 of them are stinking drunk, okay? It's liquid courage. So you got to watch. They're worse than the bulls. They're unpredictable. If anybody touches you, you elbow them, get them out of your way, okay? Because they'll grab you and use you as a shield, right? And they'll, so you can apologize later. And he says, if you fall down, stay down, because they're short-sighted. They think you're a rock. They'll just hop right over. If you get back up, pow, they'll get you. What other thing he said? Oh, everybody's wearing a sash, right? All white, and then a red sash. Don't double knot the sash. If you catch a horn, you'll be hitting your head on the cobblestones the whole way down. It's the worst way to see Spain. So these are all little things I never would have thought of, right? But they all, they were reducing my risk factor, right? And so I did it twice, and lived to tell about it. And so that's why I have all that. That's my Pamplona wall over there. And then we climbed Kili, Nose of Kilimanjaro. That's another of his books. So we hired a guy. We took us up to the top of Kilimanjaro. I mean, it's a mile higher than the Rocky Mountains. That was awesome too. So a lot of, like I said, I get bored easy. Drives my wife crazy. But it pays the bills. I figured out a way to make it pay the bills. So hey.
That's good. Anybody else has any other questions? If you do, please unmute yourself. Mark, go ahead, unmute yourself and ask the question.
Ruben, I see on your wall you managed Kilimanjaro. Did you get to the summit, and how was the last kind of...
Have you done it too?
Twice, yeah.
Why? I've never been so tired like that last day. 18 hours between going up and down. Brutal. And that's when I realized that there's your body can keep going a lot longer than you got to train your mind, right? To help you keep going, because don't buy into, you just keep going. We have so much reserve. You did it twice, man. Wow. Our guide, he he said things get bad really quickly at altitude, especially at high altitude. And this is the most underestimated mountain in the world. It's a walk up, right? It's not a technical climb, but, and for that reason, everybody thinks it's easy, but it's really hard and people die there. And so he said, for the next 5 days, you do everything I do, okay? You sit when I sit, you drink when I drink, you eat when I eat, you pee when I pee, okay? And if you do that, if you you step everywhere where I step. If you do that, in 5 days, you get your picture on top of Africa. And he says, if you feel any if you feel any discomfort, don't wait till it hurts. It's too late then. But if it's discomfort, let me know, because I've seen it all. Chances are we can nip it in the bud. Well, guess what? About 4 hours coming down, even though I had my toenails clipped as close as I ever had, just they were bumping into the front of my boot. But hey, I'm Mr. Olympic man. This is just a little pain. That's not a big deal. And I kept going, right? And by the time I was seeing stars, I told Dean, I told my guy, and he says, well, how long has it been hurting? Oh, a few hours. You fool. I mean, he let me have it, right? You're going to lose a bunch of nails. You're going to be miserable for a year now, okay? All you needed to do? All you needed to do was your boot. You just tighten these here. That keeps your foot from doing this, and that solves that problem. But now it's too late. Okay, I'll listen to you next time, Dean. So yeah, listen to your your coach. They know.
Ruben, you mentioned reading and about Pamplona. So, was that book by any chance James Michener, and the book about traveling all over south of Spain?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that book. It's right here. I've read it so many times.
Yeah, I try to follow that dream, but when I read about the bulls, I decided that was not.
It's all worn
there
out.
You go.
I love that book. Yeah.
The other thing is you mentioned about being ADHD. So that raises a couple of questions. When did you first discover you were on the spectrum, and did that help you in any way?
I read a book about it. I don't know, maybe 15 years ago. I've always been interested in the personality types, and I've taken so many personality tests, and that kind of led into, I don't know, some rabbit hole chase. And I read about ADD. I was just rereading a book about it now. And yeah, it's good to know, right? And I thank God that I am, because it turns out, it's like some people call it the explorer gene, right? Because the great explorers of the past, they were probably ADD too, because they were too bored to be sitting back here farming, right? They had to go do something, exciting. And a lot of entrepreneurs are that way. But you got to have the balance, right? It's like an Amway. You got Rich DeVos and Jay Van Andel, right? So one guy was the excited dream, the crazy man, and the other guy was the manager. He kept it going, right? And Disney, right? He was the idea man, but then his brother, he kind of kept things, kept the books and everything. Otherwise, it wouldn't have worked. So you gotta be smart enough to know your limitations and how to fill in that hole. But I thank God. I thank God. I think it's my secret weapon, because ADD people, they always say, well, they can't focus. Yeah, that's right. We can't focus. If we're not excited about something, we're not going to focus on it. But if we get excited about something, then we have this whole other gear of super focus, and we can just put on the blinders and outwork people because that's exciting to us. So, I thank God that I'm that way.
Okay. Any other questions, guys? So far, Ruben, it's very entertaining. Any other?
Yeah, I have a quick comment also. I had recommended the book out there. Talent is Overrated. Have you seen that one as well? Talent is Overrated is really a study of people who go well beyond their talent and can create a lot more opportunity and success with what they do beyond their talent.
It's funny, about 10 years ago, it was like a bunch of those books. It was like that was in vogue, right? And who's this one by? Is it? It doesn't matter. I'll find it. Thanks for sharing that, because I'll dig it out. But yeah, I pinch myself that I got to do all this stuff. I mean, honestly, I think that the only reason that God let me go to the Olympics is so that I would have a platform so that I could, share all this stuff with other people and create a ripple effect, pass the torch and maybe take people's excuses away and help them realize that they can do more, right? Inspire them to that. And so, hey, if that was God's reason, thank God, because that was my dream. That's what I wanted to do.
Jeff Goldwyn, by the way, Jeff Goldwyn wrote that book, Goldwyn, Golvin, and there's an Olympic guy there on the front of the book. And I ran it, gave it to my grandson. He read it in a few hours. He just couldn't put it down. And
thanks. I'll check it out. But
excellent. It has a lot of stars that you'd know. Tiger Woods is in there, Jerry Rice. It goes business people, athletes, and others that overcome. Yeah, it's a good read. It's fun to read. So I recommend that. And it's great to give to your younger people as well, because they sometimes try to get out of something because they say, I don't have the talent. No, more important than the talent is what you just went through, what you talked about.
Yeah. When we came back I did 88, Calgary. And then I did 92, Albertville, France. And I quit for 6 years. I met my wife. I was chasing her for 6 years. So I was just, she derailed me. But I wanted to do different things. And then my coach, he convinced me to come back, start training again. And I told him I'll only come back if my younger brother, can do it. And so he started luging. We both made it. Olympic history, two brothers competing in the luge against each other. I was 39 in Salt Lake. Everybody thought I was a coach, okay? Every day somebody asked me if I was a coach because everybody's in their 20s. And then I quit again. I started my business. After about 6 years of building this business, it was running pretty well. I got bored again. And I found out no one's ever done 4 Winter Olympics in 4 different decades. I thought, hey, that's pretty cool. So I started training again and made Vancouver. Vancouver was 47. Everybody thought I was the coach's dad, okay? But it's never too late. It really isn't, And a couple of years ago, I got the itch again. I went back to Calgary. And after another 7-year break, I'm like the Brett Favre of luge. But after another 7-year break, I went to Calgary with my old sled, 25-year-old sled. I just want to see, I wonder if this old man can still do it. I wonder if I can still handle 6Gs, right? And I was sliding better than ever. Okay, I was mentally tougher. I was sliding better than ever. And coach said, hey, why don't you come back in December in a couple of months? We're having a World Cup race here. No one's ever raced at your age. That'd be a record. Cool. So I went back. I show up at the World Cup race with my old sled. And they were all laughing. They said, that thing belongs in a museum, man. Because sled technology's changed so much. This is what I got. This is, this is what I'm writing. So long story short, I was going to have to beat my personal best by 0.2 of a second, which is a huge amount of time in this sport, just to qualify for the race. And I did. I beat my best by 4/100ths of a second. And afterwards, the coaches were saying, man, you know what you just did? That's the same like winning Wimbledon with a wooden racket, okay? So you need to get yourself a real sled if you want to do it again. And so hopefully we'll see. Maybe there's a 5th Olympics in it for this old guy. Hey, all you gotta do is lay me on that sled, give me a shove, and hopefully I can drive fast enough. So if you see a guy in a walker at the next Olympics, that's me.
Ruben, on that note, I'll look at the clock too. It's 9 o'clock. I really appreciate it. It was a fantastic speech. Very motivated. Thank you very much. Thank you, Steve, for bringing Ruben to our group.
Thank you, guys.
Everybody, if you unmute, then you can applause unmuted. We can all see you, but we can't hear you.
Well, thank you, guys. You guys are all leaders,
Yeah.
You guys are leaders, and each of you impacts a lot of people. And so, and by meeting like this, it's iron sharpening iron, right? You're just making it better. So, I mean, you're like I said before, I'm preaching to the choir. So thank you guys for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you very much. Thank you and I invite